In this video, I'm going to show you a case study of how I spent $5,644 on AI agency paid ads, and what ended up happening was it absolutely printed. Now, inside the campaign that we ran in the last 30 days, it booked us 82 calls, 39 of those being qualified calls, with an average of $68 per call. So this entire video is going to be a breakdown on how I built this campaign, my creative structuring, my campaign structuring, so by the end of it, you can launch your own AI agency paid ads as well. Now, the current campaign structuring that I ran for this campaign was one campaign with 10 ad sets below it. Now, I will say most of the ad sets were testing, and about 4 of them were ones that we actually scaled budget on after a 7 to 14 day period. And mind you, before you wonder what was my targeting, I did none. It was completely broad. And what you need to focus on in every single ad campaign that you create is the creative itself. The creative is going to be 90% of the performance of your ad campaign, as well as your funnels and messaging and offer. And this entire campaign was optimizing for booked calls, nothing else. This wasn't for leads. This wasn't for information at all. It was literally just for booking calls. So when I was building out my metapixel, it was only optimizing for booked calls. And that is the single metric we were tracking inside our ads manager. And by the end, we were able to get $144 cost per qualified call, not calls in general, but qualified calls, meaning they were financially qualified. They were the type of business owner we were trying to work with, and they were ready to start today. Now, inside of our ad set structuring, we had 4 main ad sets that performed really well, which were AI UGC, static images, founder UGC, so our co-founders in the business itself, and faceless UGC, which are going to be recorded videos of our computer screen. Now later I'm going to show you what the creatives actually look like, but in each and every ad set, we had specific creative styles. We were never mixing creative styles and different type of ad sets. Each and every ad set was its own lane of strategy when it came to the creative. And like I said, each and every ad set that we were running was broad. We no longer do targeting in our ads. As Meta's getting really good when it comes to the targeting, it all comes down to your creative. So if you can be hyper specific in your creative on who this is for, who the offer is for, in itself, the algorithm is going to target for you. So you no longer have to put target interest or specifics in your ad sets or campaigns in general anymore. That is something that we used to do in 2024 and 2025. So that means your audience is going to be broad. Let the placements be chosen by Meta, and make sure you turn off AI enhancements and all that stuff, because all that's going to do is add music and freeze your ads, which right now is affecting tons of ad accounts with the new Meta update. And again, it's optimizing for booked calls, meaning that our budget is specifically for sales calls only. We're not looking at any other metrics at all besides if the ad is bringing a consistent amount of qualified appointments for a cheap amount. Now, when it came to the actual budgeting and testing of our ads, with a new ad set, we would let it run for a minimum of 7 days, spending about $20 per day on that ad set. And after that 7-day period, if it didn't book any calls, we instantly kill it and we try a new strategy. Now, what this looks like is we create the test, run it for 7 days, read the 7-day period analytics, and if it's in range where we're booking the same amount of qualified calls for anywhere from $80 to $150, we'd keep it running. And if it did, we'd graduate it, meaning we'd up the budget slowly over a week period until our ROAS got heavily affected. The thing you got to understand with any type of scaling in campaigns is that you can't necessarily aggressively change budgeting in a small period of time. It's important to, over a 7-day period, slowly increase maybe 50 to 100% of the original budget. And in the case that they didn't pass the 7-day test, we literally turn off the ad and we simply go back to the drawing board in our creative testing, meaning we have to make a new batch of ads. We've been consistently doing this for the last 3 months, and in the last 30 days, this strategy has really come to life because we're constantly introducing new creatives on the platform, which Meta loves when you consistently give it new creatives and content. But again, it's rolling the dice, giving us better odds to hit a creative winner. So inside, I built kind of a decision table where your cost per booked call is inside of a target anywhere from $80 to $150 a day. That's a really good metric for qualified calls. It doesn't mean calls in general in your calendar, but qualified calls. And something you need to look at consistently when you're scaling budgets on specific ad sets. If your cost per call is slightly declining, that's okay. That's very normal in the ad platform, where as you push it out to bigger audiences, it can decline. But if it sharply declines, that's something that you need to look at. Now, another thing is going to be strong CTR. So CTR is click-through rate, so meaning someone sees your ad and then clicks over to your funnel. If you're getting no booked calls from ad to funnel, but in AdSense, the CTR is performing well. So the CTR is anywhere from 2 to 4% in your ads. And inside is an example. So some of these ads have upwards of 3% CTR. So 3% of people are seeing the ad and clicking on the link, okay? They're clicking through the funnel. And if that's leading to no booked calls, it's less of a creative issue and more of a funnel issue. So that means you need to fix your funnel. Now, if you have high CPMs and you have weak CTR, so no one's clicking your ads, and it's super expensive to run your ads, so the CPM metric here, where it can be upwards of $109 to run, that likely means your creative is underperforming. And when you're doing ABO with your ads, so you're having Meta specifically budget out your ad sets in its own choice, if some of the creatives are getting little to no spend, that's a big indicator that the ad in itself isn't performing well, meaning Meta doesn't want to spend it. So I like doing CBO and ABO simply because Meta gets to decide what creatives are going to be spent on. I would trust them more than your own thinking, whether you know something's going to be a winner or not at high scale. Rather, you should just have Meta spend it at its reins, because Meta is the all-know when it comes to the algorithm, whether people are engaging with your ad or not. And again, if your ad has high CPMs and low CTR, your ad probably in itself isn't engaging. So it doesn't matter how good your funnel is. If the creative isn't performing well, it's probably a waste of time. Now, here's a screenshot of the ad campaign that we've been running for the last 30 days. Like I said, we spent 5.6K on it, and most of these ad sets were a waste of time. So I would say 20% of the total budget spent was strictly on testing, and most of them eventually got turned off. But here's one winner you need to look at, which is computer ads. This was a specific style, and later I'm going to show you what the ad actually looks like. But this was a style we ended up scaling to 3.6K on a specific ad set alone, with only 4 creatives under the ad set. So one of the ads alone got almost $3,000 to spend on one ad. And that was booking us calls at $144 per qualified call. And again, this was our total winner, just because as we scaled up budget, it consistently brought in profitable results, cost per booked call wise. So like I said, we had 10 ad sets, and 4 produced absolutely nothing, and 5 produced calls, and 1 completely blew up, and it took 64% of the total spend of the campaign. Okay, so that's the thing about consistently testing creatives, is one of them is going to run really good. You just have to keep adding more gasoline to the fire, which is just simply upping your budget, and then again, watching your numbers. You can't just blow up your budget and 10x the amount you're spending on it. You need to slowly increase it over a week period. And as you'll see, if the ad is still performing well, ROAS wise, cost per booked call wise, it's considered a winner. Now, something we need to touch on now is, yeah, you could have great ad creatives that have good data, but again, if it's not converting on your funnel, then none of it matters. So you need a good high converting funnel. This is a look into our video sales letter funnel that we're running. So call out. So for agency owners making 30K a month, watch our AI platform booked 1,379 sales calls last month. A little sub headline explaining the service a little bit more. A 9-minute video sales letter, and then a book your demo button. When the book your demo button is clicked, it takes them through a 5-question qualification form that cleans the data. And then if they are qualified, they'll get routed to the calendar page for them to book in. If they book in, they'll go over to our thank you page, where it'll show that video again, just to make sure they show up to the call. But most importantly, this thank you page is being tracked metapixel-wise, so that when they're qualified, when they answer the right questions in the funnel itself, that data is going to get fired back to Meta. So in this main winning campaign, when I was saying, oh, this one's booking $144 per call, it's because they answered every single question in our favor, and we fired that data back to Meta saying, hey, this is qualified, bring more people like this. The simplicity of our funnel is we have the ad, it goes over to the headline, so the main opt-in page. We had the qualification questions, the calendar, and then the thank you page. And all of that is filtering our data so that it helps the algorithm get trained even more. So your ad is one thing when it comes to training a pixel, but the other thing is actually having a funnel that cleans data, so you're not having anyone and everyone book a call, because most of those calls are going to be time wasters if you don't have enough qualification in your funnel alone. Now let's do some page view math a little bit. So with our landing page views, we had traffic that we paid $5,644 with. Now we currently averaged about a 4 to 5% opt-in rate, meaning 1 in 20 people were booking calls. So a page view to a booked call, 1 in 20 people were needed, okay? And so we paid that money to get 82 sales calls on our calendar, 39 of them being qualified, and closing 8 at $3,000 each, plus they all paid $200 a month after that. So that means the money math of all of it is we had a 4.25x ROAS on this campaign alone, cash collecting $24,000, but the profit was $18,000 just because of the ad spend that we had to spend alone. Now again, here's proof of the campaign actually booking calls. Anything you see in purple and green is going to be sales calls on our calendar that are just consultations of 30 to 45 minutes. And all these calls, again, costed 5.6K to get on our calendar. And before I jump into the creatives itself, which I'm going to show you, I actually real quick want to talk about why having good lead quality and good sales call quality is so important for you as a founder, okay? So in the past, these are screenshots that are from about 3 weeks ago. We were booking tons of calls. Now we book half the calls we do, and we're spending just as much amount of money, but the calls that we're taking are a lot more meaningful. So a lot of these calls were a lot of tire kickers, unqualified people. Now we have it to a point where if you're unqualified, you don't even get to book in on our calendar. Okay, so that just saves our closers and our sales reps a lot of time in the sales process, spending less time on sales calls and more time on meaningful calls that they can follow up on and be hammering messages to get them to sign a contract. So that's just something of a learning experience we've learned in the past month. High call volume doesn't necessarily mean really high ROAS or really high conversion rate. Sometimes your call volume can be too high to the point where the lead quality in itself doesn't mean you're closing at the highest ability you can. You could take half the calls, but if half of those calls are meaningful, you could close 24K just like we did in this month. The difference is you're taking less calls. And so from a time perspective, if you can slowly have more qualification, more training in your pixel to where you're only booking calls with meaningful people, and you pack your calendar 8 calls in a row and it's all meaningful sales appointments, that's so much better of a life than just feeding your sales calendar with literally anyone and everyone with a heartbeat. So now let's get into the ad creative. So this is where all the money is going to be made. Most people, when I see their ads, they struggle at ads itself. Their ads literally suck. They are just staring at the camera and it's like, we're going to book you 30 appointments in 30 days or you don't pay. Click the link down below to book in. It's like, no, most of these ads need to be captivating. And truthfully, the best performing ads are the ones that don't necessarily look like ads or sell you in the front of an ad yet. So they're giving value first, they're explaining something interesting, and it happens to have a CTA at the end of the video for them to book a call. Now, the types of styles we absolutely love and are actively using right now are going to be AI UGC, static frames, so still frames, carousels, hire UGC actors from Fiverr. So for example, later I'm going to show you 2 Fiverr creators that we hired to read a script for us, and then I had an editor edit over it, and then faceless UGC. So these are video recordings of your computer or your software product. So because we are AI appointment setting company and a lot of our clients want to see a demo or a walkthrough of our product in itself, a lot of our ads are just screen recordings or from the phone recording what the product and service looks like in the UI. And all these ads have multiple different hooks and styles. So for instance, if we record 8 UGC videos of the founder talking about the product, we're going to have 2 of those be bodies and 4 of those being hooks, meaning we have 8 ads total, right? 4 hooks, 2 bodies, and you connect all of them to have 8 different creative variants in your ads. So 8 ads total. So now here's a look into the UGC actor ads. We literally just hired these 2 guys off Fiverr. Some of them we low edited, just captions and headline. Other ones we had hyper edits like these where we had animations, but these are great because truthfully the avatar or whoever is in the ad is going to attract similar looking people or similar types of people. So if you have black people in your ads, you're going to attract black people. If you have women in your ads, you're going to attract women. If you have white guys in your ads, you're going to attract white guys. It all goes down. So we have different types of profiles and avatars of people that we run in our ads to attract different audiences. Now, when it comes to our founder ads, for instance, this is my co-founder. And so similarly, when we run ads like this, he's a little bit younger, so we attract younger audiences. But truthfully, a lot of our ideal client profiles, the people that are ready to spend thousands of dollars on our services, are a little older. So that's something we had to get past. So if you're super, super young right now, a young kid thinking about running ads and putting your face out there, be hesitant on it. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but what I am going to say is that you're likely going to attract other kids. And if that's the case, do they have thousands of dollars to spend on your service? So the next strategy is going to be a little bit more miscellaneous, but I'm going to run you through each and every one that we're actively running in this campaign. So the first one is going to be the computer ad. So this is what I called faceless UGC, where it's someone with their iPhone, low production, with captions, just recording their screen, and it was running it through our AI software. The next one is just going to be a simple still frame with a pain point. Our winning pain point was your setter cost $3,000. Ours cost $197. It books 40% more calls, right? So the next one is going to be Loom ads. So if you don't have the best setup, in the world for your ads, or you don't have like a great editor on your team, you want to self-edit it, this one's great because Like I said, some of the best ads that perform are the ones that don't even look like ads. So we had a simple headline. We built an AI sales platform that converts 40% better than Go High Level's native AI. That's one of our biggest messaging campaigns right now. On almost every single one of our ads, we bring up Go High Level because we work so closely with active and previous Go High Level users that want a better converting AI. And inside this video is just a screen recording of our AI product that can be connected into anyone's Go High Level account and just runs through the product and service, captions, and then a little loading timer at the bottom. But yeah, then the next one is going to be testimonial ads. So this is our client coach, Cece. His AI booked 316 calls in under a month. So it's just literally a raw video of him talking about a product or service. These are really good for retargeting. These are very good for trust building processes. We still run these testimonial ads, not to cold audiences. We noticed that it doesn't work very well with cold audiences, but people that have already interacted with our ads, we heavily use these in our retargeting, and we only spend about $3 to $5 a day on these types of ads, just testimonial ads, just to build up the trust building process. If you think from a 7-day or 14-day period of someone slowly watching your ads and your content, if they see other testimonials of people that have worked with you, it's going to make them more likely to convert just from booking a call if they see some proof of concept from other people. And again, this is just another example of just like a story-based computer ad where it's just running through our service and product on my co-founder's monitor setup. Now the next one is going to be like AI UGC stuff, so AI actors using HeyGen and Higgsfield, and then we're using professional edits over it. This one is my co-founder, and he was just recording the product or service. And then again, these are the winning computer ads. Like I showed you previously, computer ads, that ad set alone spent 3.6K. Something about this style has done so fucking well for us. I really think it's because the viewer wants to look inside the computer and like actually visually see what's going on. So it has some visual tension behind it. And so that's why I think these ads have been doing so well for us. But yeah, again, like the great thing about AI UGC is that you can pump out so many of them. You could make 50 AI ads today because you yourself or hiring a Fiverr actor or one of your friends, they don't have to get in front of the camera to record it. You just pump out AI UGC using some type of automation tool. So that's the reason I put that on there. But yeah, that's kind of a look into some winner ad sets we have right now. So if you're currently lost right now and you're like, I don't know what ad strategies I want to do, start with Fiverr UGC if you're scared to put your face out there. If you want cheap results, do still frames. And if you want some of the best lead quality, do founder ads, just because if you're the type of avatar that can pull it off, founder ads where, for instance, I just showed my co-founder in a lot of the ads. When you go over to the funnel, guess what? He's in the video sales letter as well. And guess what? On most of the sales calls, he takes them as well. So from a familiarity standpoint, if the lead is consistently seeing the same face, they start to know, like, and trust your brand based on your face alone. Now that is exactly, my friends, how we spent 5.6K to book 82 calls, 39 being qualified, 8 closed at 24K cash collected, 4.25x ROAS, and making $18.3 thousand profit from our high ticket offer alone. So upfront cash paid to us. Again, all of this just comes down to running more ads, spending more on the platform. The more you spend on Meta, the more it's going to be able to give you data that's meaningful. Okay, if you're going out there running ads and you're like ready to spend $5, $10 a day, you're not going to really get anywhere just because it's not enough data for Meta to know anything about your type of profile of client it's looking for. And by the way, I know I showed a bunch of styles of creatives that I run, but if you have some type of competitor or someone in your space that you constantly see ads for and you just want to spy on them and see their ads, you can literally just go to Facebook ads library. This is a guy, I was searching up his ads, Aletio AI, and I was just looking through his ads catalog and seeing what he's doing. But again, 140 results, so I can see 140 of his ads running right now. You can do this for all types of creators. Like for instance, Alex Hormozi, he's running 760 ads you can look at right now for inspiration. And most of the time when I'm looking at other people's ads, I'm not necessarily listening to the sales points because that's in each and everyone's own interest to build their own pain points and sales strategies in their ads, like their copy. But I mainly look for how people recorded the ad. So like I said, a lot of ads that perform well are ones that don't look like ads. That's a strategy that we've been using heavily. Like I said, these damn computer ads perform so well. It's not very salesy. It's not someone in a big studio, podcast setup explaining their product or service with high edits. That feels very salesy. That feels very high production. Like they're trying really hard. These computer ads, it doesn't seem like you're trying hard. It's just a simple UGC video recording your product or service and explaining what it does. And then by the end, you're like, hey, if you want to see more on how this does, go over to our Learn More page and check it out. And it's just a video sales letter, and that slowly sells them even more. And then the video sales itself is like, hey, if you want to see a little bit of how it would look exactly for your specific sales process, booking a call down below and I'll give you a personal audit. So that's like what we've been doing heavily in our ad campaigns. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, run more ads, spend more on the platform. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get access to all my ad strategies, templates, and weekly calls with me and my team, you can click the link down below and become a partner with me. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.